Today, I'm going to critique another video by June Lee, formerly at ESPN, personality who's been on many shows and now has a channel on YouTube. And I critiqued one of his videos about a couple months ago when he was discussing how sports media is broken. Well, now the flip side, it's going back to the fan, where it's a situation when watching sports, is that broken too? He brings up some very interesting points and a few add-ons that he didn't mention that I'm going to bring forth to this video. So there's going to be a lot to uncover and a lot to unpack here over the course of the next, I don't know. Sit tight. Let's watch this one together.
I want to show you something. This is LeBron James sitting courtside next to someone using StreamEast, one of the most popular illegal sports streaming sites. LeBron is a billionaire, and if he's pirating games, something's clearly broken.
That is all you need to know. In fact, I should probably stop the video right here, because if LeBron James, one of the more famous athletes on the planet, if he has to sit courtside on a phone or tablet watching or streaming the game illegally, then what does that say about the average general public like you and I? I mean, this is one of the reasons why sports, or at least watching it, has gotten way out of control.
In 2025, watching sports is a mess.
It's a modern day Robin Hood that steals live sports from the NFL and gives it to poor dirtbags like myself.
Now I'm realizing that blackout restrictions are still a thing, and they make me irrationally upset.
Why am I paying for these things if I can't watch the game?
Come on, that's $6.99 for that game, America. $6.99? Come on, man. You're talking about highway robbery.
Just this week, the #1 seed in the NBA playoffs, the Cleveland Cavaliers, were blacked out in Ohio. Imagine being a diehard fan, your team's having its best season in years, and you can't even watch the game. So in this video, I'm going to break down how we got to this point. How much does it actually cost to watch sports legally? And most importantly, why is it only getting worse?
We know why it's getting worse. It's the owners of all of these teams throughout these leagues right there, because they know that they could get a nickel more from another streaming platform, streaming service, channel, etc., where they're going to take all the money, price out the fan, and obviously do not even care about the fan. Because if that was the case, they would stick to regular broadcast TV. And we understand content is king, as we can see what the NFL has done here over the last several years. But they're not the only ones that are guilty of it. Major League Baseball is, the NBA is now with the whole NBC, Peacock. We know ESPN with their new streaming service, how I'm sure they're going to have some games on there where you're going to have to look from underneath your sofa cushions to various rocks to find out where these games are being broadcasted on a night in, night out basis. So that's where we start. And where has it gone wrong? That's going to be interesting to see how June's going to unpack this. And you know I'm going to have a thing or two to say about that.
Things have gotten so crazy with all of this that people in the government have even noticed. And JD Scholten, a member of the Iowa House of Representatives and a former independent league baseball player, has had enough.
If you buy a subscription and then all of a sudden you're following a team, you want to follow your favorite team, and then you're not able to watch them, it's so frustrating.
Scholten experiences this firsthand every single day. Iowa doesn't have any Major League Baseball teams, but Scholten lives in a state where 6 teams are blacked out, which means that up to 40% of Major League Baseball could be inaccessible via streaming on any given night.
And in 2025, that's a disgrace. I understand back in the 70s, 80s, before the advent of cable, bringing a lot of these subscriptions to, whether it be the extra innings at the time or the NBA League Pass. Of course, the NFL was on DirecTV for so many years, so you had to have satellite. But it took such a long time to kind of get past that. And there's an example. If you live in Iowa and you have 6 of those teams blacked out, meanwhile, those teams are nowhere near your city or region, or, yeah, even if you're near state lines. I mean, give me a break. Back in the day, it used to be you can't be within 50 miles of the stadium. Here it is. You're probably 100, maybe 150 miles from the stadium, and you're still getting blacked out, which to me, they haven't been able to fix that or correct it. Come on. Is this all about money in this regard? Let's watch further.
JD Scholten introduced a bill in Iowa that would make blackouts illegal. This is one of the issues that he hears the most about from the people he represents.
This is symbolic of what's happening in our economy right now. We have these billionaire owners who are profiting off of all this. They're profiting off the regional network system. That, to me, is so symbolic of America right now, where the wealthy are shaping things to make them more wealthy, whereas everyday people get left behind.
Huh. Sounds familiar? Reminds me of the old scene in Scarface, if you recall, where Al Pacino was sitting in the big tub and he was living the lap of luxury after doing all those drug deals on the streets of Miami. And what did he eloquently say while he was sitting in the tub talking about capitalism?
You know what capitalism is? Get fucked.
Yeah. And obviously all these owners in all these leagues, sports, etc., they are guilty of it. And it's a shame because, again, who gets the brunt of it? Us.
If you want to follow your favorite teams, the cost has only gone up, but the ability to actually watch those teams has only gotten worse. And so I want to rewind back 20 years to see how much it actually cost to be a sports fan back then versus how much it costs to be a sports fan now.
You may want to avert your eyes here. No, the reason why you're watching is because you want to see how this is all going to unfold. And I understand, just like anything in life, things evolve. It's not going to be the same 20, 30 years ago than it is today. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be better. Take a look.
For the sake of this video, we're going to look at two types of sports fans, the casual and the hardcore. The casual fan, let's call him Jack. In 2004, Jack is a Lakers fan and pays for the cable package to watch the Lakers on national TV. He pays for one ticket whenever the Lakers come to Texas to play a game. He buys one jersey and a hat. In total, Jack pays around $664 to be a sports fan. The hardcore sports fan, let's call her Veronica. In 2004, Veronica also pays for the cable package to watch all the national TV games. She attends multiple games across all sports, buys 2 jerseys and hats per year. In total, Veronica pays about $1,321 a year to be a hardcore sports fan. Fast forward 20 years, Jack doesn't have cable. Now, when Jack's bored, it's TikTok or Netflix, and unlike 2004, following sports just requires the internet. If Jack wanted to watch sports the way he did 20 years ago, it would cost him $2,169, including his internet bill. This is a 227% increase from 20 years ago. In 2024, Veronica not only pays for cable and league packages, but every single streaming service. On top of that, she pays for high-speed internet. If everything else stays the same, Veronica now pays $4,784 per year to watch sports.
That is mind-blowing. I mean, we understand things are going to change. And with the way technology is, it's great that we actually have this all at our fingertips. But at what cost? Well, you see it right there in living color. And when you really go deep in the weeds on this, which thankfully June does, you almost want to not watch sports anymore, as crazy as it is for me to say that. But it's so true, because to pay for a ticket, to go to the arena, to spend God knows how much money on parking, concessions, food, etc., it's almost as if they went up to you with a gun and a ski mask and said, hey, we want all your money. And I understand they're in the business to do that. I get it. Go back to capitalism. But still, does it have to be to the extent where fans don't even want to go to the games? And I'm going to touch more on that later on when it comes to yours truly. But for them to not even go to the games because they can't even afford it. And especially with the way salaries are and jobs and obviously all the means of entertainment that we have at our fingertips, knowing that, yes, I don't have to sit and watch SportsCenter. I could just watch a highlight clip on TikTok or Instagram, as he noted. Or do I really need to watch this game tonight? Or guess what? Maybe I go to a local bar, have a beer with some wings and some French fries, and yeah, that'll actually cost me a little bit cheaper just to watch one game than to go to the arena and enjoy the experience of being with 17,000 other fans or 50,000 fans, depending on the sport, and enjoying it that way. I mean, this is as crooked and even as bizarre as you could possibly imagine. And nobody would have told me this 20 years ago to think that this is what the sports fan will have to go through in 2025.
This is a 262% increase. While the cost of watching sports has risen over 200% in the United States, salaries have only risen 87% in the United States at the same time.
Thank you.
And fans are noticing. Mike Benedictchuk is a massive Philadelphia sports fan.
In terms of the prices, yeah, it doesn't add up. It's very expensive to have everything you need to watch your teams. I don't have Peacock. I don't have that subscription. So if the Phils have the 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. game on Peacock on Sunday, I don't watch it.
While every part of being a sports fan is more expensive than it's ever been before, from the tickets to the merchandising to watching things on TV, it's also way more confusing and frustrating. So how did this happen? Why is watching sports so much harder now than it's ever been before?
That answer's simple. It's because of the proliferation of all these streaming platforms that are able to put their hands in the pot. Now, obviously, they got to pay a handsome amount in order for them to secure the rights and broadcast their games over these streaming services. But right, back in the day, especially with the NFL, it was Sunday at 1 o'clock on CBS or Fox or vice versa, the night game on NBC, and then you had the Monday night game, which used to be on ABC, now ESPN, and that was it. But now you have to worry about games in Sao Paulo, which is on YouTube this year, but last year was on Peacock. Playoff games on Peacock, on Amazon Prime. Then you have the Black Friday game. You have Christmas with Netflix, and it has your head spinning in a tizzy. And is this trying to solve calculus 401 or anything that extreme or certainly that complex? No. But when you take a look at what the landscape once was and what it is today and how it's just become so broad and to the extent where you just don't know where these games are broadcast on or even where to find them, of course it becomes frustrating and aggravating to say the least. And yes, even though you have to adapt and you easily are able to find these games, but after a while, you almost have to wipe your brow to say, well, I almost feel like I pulled a 4-hour shift at work or even 8 hours for that matter, just trying to find the damn thing, let alone set it up. I tell you, the way the world is in 2025, is it for better or for worse?
First, in the last 20 years, attending sports games has become a luxury experience. No stadium embodies this more than the old and new Yankee Stadium. The main difference, all of the luxury boxes meant to bring in more corporate sponsors than average fans. The second is the death of the all-in-one cable package.
He's right about that, but let's also remind everybody of another thing. The salaries of these ball players that have gone through the roof. And if you're just going to talk about the Yankees, Garrett Cole, $326 million. Aaron Judge, $340 million. Max Fried, $218 million. I understand the Marlins are paying some of it, but Giancarlo Stanton, his contract when he first signed it was $325 million. I mean, do the math. This isn't a situation where your most highest paid ball player is making $5 to $10 million a year. When you have 4 or 5 guys on a payroll that are making 9 figures, who do you think is going to feel the brunt of that? You guessed it.
20 years ago, one cable bill gave fans every single sport. Now, cable is still expensive, and you're not even guaranteed access to all of your team's games. As the cable bundle fell apart, the league saw an opportunity to charge more to get fans to watch the same number of games. It's the reason why Netflix now broadcasts the NFL games on Christmas, and Apple also has an MLB broadcast on Friday nights.
I have logged into my own YouTube TV at bars before. I swear to God, this is true, to get the game on TV because they didn't have it. I've done that a couple of times now. You know, businesses that used to be able to walk into a sports bar, watch whatever game was on. Well, now you can't do that anymore. And it's going to become more common. People are going to do it, which I'm happy to do. They give me free beer, so I'll take it.
One of those sports bars is Rookies in Clive, Iowa.
I'll tell you what, in the past 2 years, it's become so difficult. And we've lost customers. Business has definitely declined. People, you know, if they're going to stream, they'll stream at home.
And that's also another problem. I used to go to a sports bar in Manhattan to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers many years ago before I got DirecTV in 2001. And at that point, I didn't even need to go to that sports bar anymore to watch my beloved Steelers. I stood at home. And now here we are, fast forward from the aughts, 20 teens to now here we are in the mid-20s. And it's a situation where, yeah, all this stuff could be streamed right here in the privacy of your own home. But at the same time, with all those different caveats that go along with trying to subscribe to all these various subscriptions and how much it's costing you, and they're just sticking that needle right into your pocket and sucking out every dime, of course, it gets to a point where it's like, when is enough enough? And now to hear that the bars are going through this. So imagine if you were a person that went to your local bar or a place where you know you could be there with your buddies to watch a game on Sunday, and understand with YouTube, everybody has that. And of course, the businesses are going to have that. But let's say you want to watch an NBA game in the middle of January and you can't watch it because A, it's blacked out, or B, they're not broadcasting the game, or you know what? These people just end up staying home on a Friday night where maybe there's a couple of good games on where business is slow. Now, of course, I can't worry about that because I don't run an establishment like that, but you could get a sense of the enormity in regards to how people are watching sports in this day and age. Not only does it affect the businesses, but most importantly, the fan like us who stays at home.
So given how much everything has become a mess, I was curious to hear your thoughts. I reached out on social media, make sure to follow me there. And I asked you, what is your experience like watching sports in the streaming era?
Well, this is where I luck out because 2 of the teams that I root for, especially living in New York City, I can watch all their games, Mets and Islanders. When it comes to my basketball team, It's the Celtics, where they generally have just about all their games broadcasted, whether it's through the League Pass or a lot of the games that you'll see on cable, regular TV, etc. And then the NFL, which everybody can watch, but of course you have to have the YouTube package in order for you to watch the NFL games. Or do you go the other way like LeBron and watch the illegal streaming services to consume your NFL football?
The number one complaint was blackouts for a whole variety of reasons. In Hawaii, 5 different NBA teams are blacked out on any given night. There was the rising cost of streaming services, which I thought was best captured by this post that shows how many apps you need to follow a single sport. There was people struggling with their grandparents and people struggling with the different buffering times of certain streams. An issue that extends outside of sports to events like New Year's Eve. There's so many different tech issues, and in NASCAR, the commercials will play instead of the actual race.
So the majority of American race fans I've talked to do VPN to countries during races so they don't have to deal with the commercials, which then again is a double-edged sword because you want to support racing so it grows in the United States, but you also don't want to miss anything on the track.
There are some valid counterpoints. If you're looking for a sports game now, it's probably playing somewhere. And when you can watch a game in 4K, it truly is a wonderful, awesome experience. Thank you to everyone who sent in a video or a post or a tweet. I really do appreciate it. This is something I really hope to do more in future videos as well. It's clear that everyone is frustrated. I find myself frustrated about this on a nightly basis, and I'm sure you're frustrated about this too. It's gone from sports being this like passive hobby where you could just turn on the TV and watch the game to needing to seek out sports to figure out, is the game on Max? Is it on Peacock? Is it on Apple TV? It's really hard to figure that piece of information out on its own.
And just like I said a little while ago, that's the issue. That's the problem. It's almost as if you got to go on a scavenger hunt just to find where these games are being broadcast, that by the time you get to it, it's as if you ran a marathon. And to think, how are 5 NBA teams, all there on the West Coast, blacked out in Hawaii? It's a 5-hour plane ride. It is literally almost 3,000 miles from the continental U.S. How are those teams blacked out in Hawaii? What?
You know, they come here, they get the tables, you know, blah, blah, blah. Then I'm standing out in the middle of the room, like almost in tears because I can't get the game on. And, you know, it's just a mess.
Fans shouldn't have to pay $5,000 a year and not be able to watch every single one of the games of their favorite team. And I feel like for most fans, it's not even about the price. It's the fact that we pay all this money and we still don't get access to everything. So if you can't even afford to watch your favorite team, it's led people to the next logical step: piracy.
And it makes you wonder, as much money as all these leagues are making, will they crack down on that? Will they find a way? Because again, these leagues, these owners, etc., they don't have money to burn. They have money to napalm. And who knows, maybe they'll still find a way to get themselves around the, let's target this region or the entire country, whatever it may be, for those who are trying to do that. How they police that, I don't know. But let's face it, if they're going to start cracking down on that, they may turn the sports fan off altogether, if that's the case. Also brings you back to a time where, remember back in the day, at least in New York, and I'm sure this was abroad, but when we wanted to watch that big fight Saturday night and nobody wanted to pay the $49.95 for the pay-per-view, where if you got that illegal box with the button in the back, and sometimes they would shoot that bullet where it would just black out the TV or maybe terminate the box for all I know. But just being able to do that, where you were able to watch that fight, the heavyweight fight on a midsummer Saturday night, and everybody gathers around the TV, orders pizza, beer, etc., just to be able to watch that event. The good old days. But now, please, you'd have to give up your firstborn left arm and right leg in order to even watch any of these events. And we all know, especially when it comes to boxing, they could end up being a dud and therefore a complete waste of your money.
But today, it's not just broke college kids who are pirating these games. It's everyone.
Everybody knows about these illegal streams, right? Adam Schefter was joking about it the other day on a podcast, right? They know about it, and they definitely are very popular, these illegal streams, like bet streams.
Full transparency, and I mean this from every fiber of my being. I didn't know about those other streaming services that are illegal. I really didn't. There are a couple I do know of. I ain't going to front. I mean, I'd be naive and stupid to be like, what? Really? I didn't know. I mean, I'm not that out in the wilderness. But when I saw some of those pop up at the very beginning of this video, I said, Stream East, this one, that one, they almost sounded weird. They didn't even sound legit. And just to know that they were out there actually caught me by surprise, because it's not as if I'm looking up on the internet, ooh, how can I stream this game, or how can I do this and that? No, I didn't go that route. I'm not able to afford all these different platforms, as well as the internet service and even cable for that matter, where I'm able to just dish out as if it was monopoly money. Absolutely not. But I will say, when I saw the list of other illegal streaming services that are out there when it comes to watching sports, I said, damn, where the hell have I been all this time?
Some bars that will go ahead and do it anyway, but we're kind of afraid here. We don't want to get in trouble and get fined. You know, the fines are huge.
It was really eye-opening for me when Meth Streams and Crack Streams, two of the most popular illegal sports streaming websites, went down, that the internet had a complete freak out about it. The Google trend for the search free sports streams has gone up dramatically over the last few years. I'm not advocating for piracy, but this is where things are right now when it comes to watching sports. Instead of making it easier to watch games, leagues are cracking down on these illegal streaming websites instead of addressing the issue that brought fans there in the first place.
And that's the bigger question. Why can't they address these issues? If they're putting out all these various prices and it's exorbitant, and they know that the fans are getting taxed and they're getting killed by this, wouldn't you think they would try to do their best to show all the games and not have them blacked out? Or, oh, we can't broadcast this because we're not able to do so, or anything to that nature? It's mind-boggling to think that the way technology is and the way it's advanced since the days of the early 90s, when we were able to get box scores on CompuServe, where that blew my mind at the time, because we could get them right after the game as opposed to having to wait to get them in the paper the next day. And then here it is, 2025. It's almost as if these people who are gatekeeping, they're like, well, there's nothing we could do about it. Or, you know what, we tried to pass this bill. Or, oh, no, well, I guess they're still going to be blacked out. I mean, come on, seriously? Why are you doing this to us? To me, this is criminal. And obviously, they're not going to do anything about it because they know that these owners, leagues, etc., they're making triple of the king's ransom that anybody could ever imagine. But at the same time, come on, where is there a balance? Where is it become fair for us to be able to watch what it is that we want, especially if we're paying through the nose for it, and therefore, in the end, we're still getting shafted? Come on, can we answer that, please?
Like, look at what's happening in Chicago. 6 months after launching, the Chicago Sports Network isn't available for 1 million Comcast subscribers in the city. And the solution to these issues is paying for another streaming service for $20 a month. And as a result, the ratings for the Chicago Blackhawks are down 78%. If fans didn't feel like they were being squeezed for every single last dollar right now, they wouldn't turn to piracy. This happened at the beginning of the streaming era, when every single show became really accessible, especially on Netflix. Pirating went down. But now, because every single show and every single league is on a bunch of different streaming services, pirating is going back up again because it's too expensive to keep up. And that's actually one of the major reasons behind the mission for this YouTube channel.
And this is why I like June and what he's doing here. And if you saw my other video, which will be at the end of this or even in the link in the description below, how he talked about sports media being broken, he's actually going into the rabbit hole to figure out like what is really going on here. And especially with things that matter when it comes to sports fans like you and I. And me, I understand. I'm a kook and I do this for a living, so therefore I can't get enough of this. But somebody has to open the lid on this to expose what the hell is going on, because really, we could pay for all this and we could be happy as a lark. And let's say even if we had the means and disposable income to do so, but is it right for them to do and have us over a barrel, the leagues and the owners, et cetera, that is, for us to kind of be left behind in the dust or even shafted for that matter, knowing that we're not getting the amount of money that we're paid for to get this content? It's certainly not worth that. It's actually less than that, because come on, can we get it together to get these blackout restrictions lifted and some of these other things, cut through that red tape so we could have the whole experience as a fan to watch at home without having to deal with any of this nonsense?
How does this get fixed? How do you fix a broken system? Number one, kill blackouts. If you're paying for a service, you should be able to watch every single game. This is more simple than it sounds, though.
Yeah.
Streaming rights are currently complicated because of the reliance still on the cable package, but as we head towards a streaming-centric future, it will be easier to watch everything on streaming. If you're paying for a service, you should be able to watch every single game, period. And to be fair, according to multiple sources, the leagues are working on this. Rob Manfred's dream for Major League Baseball is having a mega streaming service where, without any blackouts, you pay once to watch any single game for an entire season.
See, but there's a problem with that, because where they're going to go for that is the bigger question. Imagine all the playoff games, especially with the wild card, as rumored for next year and beyond, we're going to be on Apple TV. I understand people have iPhones, MacBooks, iPads, etc., but there are some that don't have that. And I understand that even if you have Android or any other particular device, that you could still get Apple TV on that. But the thing is that who wants to pay $9.99, or who knows? They would probably even increase it that much more in order for you to watch playoff games, wild card games. No, not a regular season game in May. No, not a Friday night in July. We're talking about games in October that really matter, that people want to watch. And of course, they're going to be shut out because it's on Apple TV. So therefore, can we get this fixed there, Rob Manfred, and try to put this on one particular platform that everybody could watch, and not because it's exclusive or we can't really find it, or if it's a scenario where, wait a minute, what is this? MLBstream.net.com.org? What? I hope it doesn't go in that direction.
Step 2, we need to bring back the bundle. Right now, we're headed in the wrong direction. ESPN, Fox, and Turner previously announced a streaming bundle called Venue, but these plans were recently canceled. Instead, fans are going to need to pay for an incoming ESPN streaming service, a rumored Fox streaming service, and Max if they want to watch all the games and don't have cable. And step 3, more fan-friendly ticket policies. It's great when teams give student discount ticket packages, and it should be easier to get in the door and not have to pay $15 for a hot dog.
Again, that goes back to what I said before, because the players are getting paid an exorbitant amount. And I understand the market, et cetera, where you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, where you got SGA making $280 million, as well as Chet Holmgren, who got a big contract, and Jalen Williams. Just those three guys alone are over $600 million, close to $700 million. So if you're in Oklahoma City, how are you going to watch those games if you get blacked out? Or how could you even afford to go to the games because the tickets are just through the roof? And yes, they could have the student nights where you could go in there on a Tuesday against Sacramento and spend whatever, $10 for a ticket. Or hopefully they have family packs where you could take your family of 4 to select games. And I understand it's not as if you're going to watch when the Lakers come to town or the Celtics or the Knicks or any team like that. Unfortunately, you're going to have to see, if you're in Oklahoma City, Charlotte, in order to get that type of ticket package. But at least you get in the door if you're going to pay, let's say, I don't know, $10 a ticket. And on top of that, you get a hot dog and soda for another $10. So total, do the math. Obviously, it's not through the roof. But again, how often are you going to be able to get those type of packages, considering that every game, they're just trying to capitalize as much as they possibly can?
I think we're at a breaking point where if the leagues try to continue squeezing every last dollar out of fans, the fans will simply stop showing up. All the data shows that Gen Z and younger sports fans aren't as invested in sports as they used to be. And I think a major part of that issue is how hard it is to just turn on and watch a sports game today.
I have to disagree. I don't think it's that. I think because there are so many options out there, whether it's watching regular content on Netflix and all the other streaming devices and streaming platforms that are out there, on top of the gaming, where a lot of the Gen Zers and the young folk, they'd rather sit and play Call of Duty for 100 hours than to watch a baseball game that will take 2.5 to 3 hours, or maybe even an NBA game for that matter. Or maybe if it's a huge game, finals, conference finals, etc., maybe they'll tune in. Or just like you said earlier, they're going to watch the highlights on their phone for 30 seconds at a time because their attention span is the size of a pinhead. So it's one of those things where, yes, I understand they may tune sports out, but because there's so many other distractions, so many other things to do, that sports becomes low on the pecking order because they rather game, or they rather do other things or watch other content besides what's happening between the white lines.
It's so much easier to just open up TikTok, open up YouTube, open up Instagram. Fans aren't just walking away from sports because they've stopped caring. The leagues stopped caring about fans first.
I would be happy to pay the money if I had easy access to all of my games.
We're missing the game of the week. as a nation.
Oh, God, they just need to get off their high horses and get something done. I mean, this is ridiculous. You know, it's just millionaires getting richer. They just kind of forget about, you know, us little people over here. Care more about your customers.
And if sports keeps heading in this direction, there's going to be an entire generation of young people who don't grow up with memories watching these games. And if you don't have these memories watching sports, it's harder to become a sports fan as an adult. The next generation is just not going to fall in love with sports the way that we did.
40, 50 years from now, I'm sure I'll be long gone. Hopefully, knock on wood, that's not the case. But let's face it, with the way everything is going and the way the world is and who knows what it's going to look like 10, 15, 20, 25 years from now. But there's certainly going to be generations that obviously are going to be that much further along that they won't even know who Babe Ruth is, or they wouldn't even know who Jim Brown is. And that's just the cold, hard truth. So that's just one aspect of it. But the other thing is, and as I wanted to mention before, and I'll put this in closing now, for yours truly, going to a sporting event, do I still love it? Absolutely. Priced out? Yeah, of course. But I have to say, I'd almost rather sit at home unless I'm going to a playoff game or a game of significance. Dare I even say a World Series game? My beloved Mets. Can we get to a World Series? A regular season game, I really don't have the fervor to want to go to a regular season game that I once did. And just so you know, I posted a vlog last year when I was in Miami to watch the Mets and Marlins. And by coincidence, I happened to be down there where I was able to get a ticket, watch the game, and enjoy it. Mets did win, but it was a situation where I say, hey, because if the Mets weren't there, I probably wouldn't have gone to the ballpark to watch a game. But the point of the matter is that I can watch the Mets or go to Citi Field 81 times a year. And have I gone? I can't even tell you the last time I went to a Met game. In fact, off the top of my head, it's been years, quite frankly, before COVID. So therefore, I become comfortable being at home watching a game because, again, they're on locally all the time. It's not as if I need the MLB package or have to worry about blackouts in that regard. So it's a situation where going to a game doesn't mean as much as it once did. Please, the Steelers just played the Jets out of MetLife to open up the season. Did I have any inkling to even think about going out there to travel, parking, tailgate, go to the game, afterwards tailgate, and any of that stuff? Not in the least. So therefore, watching these games, is it broken? It certainly is. And the only way to fix it goes way higher than any fan could ever think of. And unfortunately, until they fix it, can it improve? Yes. But the sad part is, at what cost? If you want to see my other video that I had with June Lee about why sports media is broken, definitely check this out here. I would sincerely appreciate all the support. Please subscribe, share with your family, friends, foes, frenemies, and those who like sports, love sports, can't get enough of sports, and even some other lifestyle content that's on there that you may want to check out as well. But if you can, I would sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one.